We're
It's
live.
showtime. Hey, everybody.
And when we're live, hi everyone. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day and evening so far. It's so good to be here with all of you and with you, Lainey.
With you, Joanna. I'm so glad you said before, open up the show, but you just went right into it. So I'm just going to follow suit with you. I'm excited about tonight's show, and I'm excited about every show. I'm
Hmm.
excited about everything going on. It's a lot going on, and
Wow.
we're so excited at having all this momentum. Hi, Linda. Great to be here with you. You just called me, and now I'm so glad to be here. Hi,
Hi,
Karen.
Karen.
Tonight we have so much to talk about tonight, but this topic tonight we'll get into in a few minutes because it's a wonderful topic, and the topic has been coming up a lot lately, particularly for all of us who are all moving and grooving and just trying to find our way. And we've grown up within a religion, and we moved into spirituality, and some of us dabble in all the worlds, and some of us don't. And oh my God, I've been a lover and a studier of religion my whole life. So I just can't wait to talk about everything we are going to talk about today in the way that you and I do what we do, Joanna. And
Hmm.
we'll talk about that after some wonderful announcements.
That's right. Well, I'm going to say that this show is a little bit different than we normally do. And especially, I want you guys to wait till the end because Lainey has done, it is there's a surprise. So, something that she hasn't done before. And I am so excited to be able to watch her give you this wonderful gift.
Oh my God, that's such a tease. Well, hey,
Mhm.
Joan. Hey, Linda. Hey, Tony. Hey, Melissa. Hey, everybody. We're so glad you're here. Welcome again. Thank you. And yes, we have a lot of, every show I think we throw in a little something. We either give away something or we throw in a little something, something. First off, let me just say, uh, we had an amazing time at our Organic Beauty Food Healing Oracle Deck extravaganza. And Tony got to sit there with food on her face. It was not a food fight. It was like food finesse, where we just got to watch her model food all day long that Lucille was putting on, while you so eloquently, Joanna, shared all these deeper meanings of the foods and why her skin might have been having that reaction, or that need, that calling. So beautiful job. We all had a great time. If you didn't
We
go to
did.
it, we may have some others of those coming up. It was incredible.
And
What do you
maybe Tony later can write a little bit about how her face feels today after being fed such nourishment.
Yeah, blueberries, lemons, avocados, cucumbers. I mean, like, she got the word
Coffee.
coffee. It was amazing. Well, and actually, hi everybody. Karen, we saw you. Robin's here. Cheryl. It actually lends in perfectly because we know we want to do this again. When in the schedule, who knows? But what we do know for sure, and it leads into actually our guest who's going to be here next Monday, right? We tend to want to do every other week. The facials were awesome, and Joanna's insight. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Thanks, Cheryl. What we tend to do, I think we've been like almost having a guest every other week or close to it. So we have a wonderful guest next week. But it lends into this. We talked about having this beauty event again, or the Food Healing Oracle Deck and Do It Yourself Organic Radiant Beauty. Well, some of you know, and some of you already booked, and some of you have been hearing about the fact that there is the ultimate Food Healing Oracle Deck retreat in the works, in development. And by next Monday, you're going to know all about it. Some of you already know about it, and some of you have already booked yourselves in. But essentially, what's happening is next June, and again, next week, we'll talk more about it. We're just giving you a little bit of a heads up. So next June, we are all going to gather, all the fans and all the certified readers and all the wonderful experts who know all things food healing Oracle deck. And we are going to spend a week in tropical paradise on the island of Isla Mujeres, which is in Mexico off the coast of Cancun. I can't go on, say enough about it. I will talk probably more about it next week. All I can tell you is this. Our guest next week is sort of the main highlight because she will be preparing all the foods. Besides her preparing all the foods, Oksana Dots is an author, a wellness coach. She's an incredible human being. But her relationship with food is so amazing, Joanna. She works with the Evox and the Zyto. And for those of you who don't know that, her specialty is transgenerational understanding of food. For instance, I come from Russian descent. And so there are inherent things that are in my DNA that affect my food choices. And she goes in and did you know, well, you know, but we talk about EMPS wellness with the food healing Oracle deck. But if we had a client for some reason who has problems with food, they eat fast all the time, right? They're eating fast. Well, she goes in with her amazingness and finds out why does this person eat so fast? Their meals are done in like 5 minutes. Well, when she told the story once is that when this person was a child, the parents ate fast because the father was an alcoholic and they just wanted to get through dinner in case he had an issue. And it stayed in her issues.
Yes.
And that's why to this day she has food issues. So Oksana is an amazing human being. She's going to be on the show next week.
That's awesome. And Linda says next Monday is Labor Day, still having it. Yes,
we're still having it. Yeah, we're still having it because there's a lot of people who requested it, and we're happy to do it. And if you can watch the replay or if you can come, I think it's such a powerful show. And by the way, people are on trips on Labor Day, and we're going to be on a trip interestingly, y'all remember Debbie Duncan? She did a little reading on the Food Healing Oracle deck. And do you remember she kept saying to us, Joanna, I feel like the deck wants to go on a trip. Like it wants to go somewhere. And we're like, what? And then we're like, Isla Mujeres. Yeah. Anyway, make a long story short, Oksana Dots is with us next week. We're going to talk all foods, emotions, and that is one of the main topics. And then we are preparing foods from the Food Healing Oracle deck in our upcoming book, smoothie book, next week. And so we'll be talking all about Isla next week and then all the work that Oksana does. So I'm excited about that. But the whole point of it is one of the classes at this retreat in Mexico is going to be the organic beauty. And she's going to show you how to make sunscreen out of food and everything else. We're going to be doing it live together. And I'm excited.
I'm excited too. You know, I have to say I cleaned my closet out last week and I had my beachy clothes and I'm putting them all in a row because I'm just waiting to pack that stuff up and get over to Mexico for that. We all need a vacation after all of this stuff going on with COVID and being locked in our houses, and we need to breathe the fresh air and go into the blue ocean water. Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, a certain somebody gave us an amazing reading one time, and we talked all about Isla Mujeres, and it looks very favorable for this trip for next year. So we know it. We know it's on, and the hotel is already starting to get calls. So more on that because we have a lot to talk about today, and we have a powerful subject. But to answer the question that you asked Joanna about Tony, when I got home, my daughter said, Mom, your skin looks so shiny and smooth, and she had no idea where I was. It was such a fun time. My skin is still so soft.
Oh, awesome.
Well, I'm getting some of that food stuff that I booked a facial with Lucille in a couple days from now. I'm like, I want food on my face. I want whatever you did to Tony, give me up.
Oh,
it was great. Okay, so before we get into our show, September 12th is coming up for our Archangels and Ascended Masters. Kind of plays in really well with our topic of today.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but I encourage all of you, if you haven't signed up yet, $33 is going to be the best, most enlightening experience to know that this deck is telling me this about this food, and I'm eating it, and I'm like now connecting with that archangel who does this for me. I mean, wait till we share with you what has been blessed to be brought forward. So we're really excited. So yeah, get in on that if you can. Again, it's September 12th from 11. We should have started at 11:11, right? But it's at 11 to 1, 2 hours.
That's okay. At 11:11, we'll say a special prayer to one of the
We
archangels.
will. That's a great idea.
They're all going to be there. We've been calling them in. They're all going to be there.
So we have readings to do after our topic tonight, and there may be a giveaway. Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. So you all have to stay here and check out everything we have going on. All right, this topic. Here we go. Are we ready? Are we ready to just kind of dive in?
I think we're ready. I think we are, because I think, I don't think, I know a lot of people have come up and said something to us, especially as we're certifying these readers and they're completing their certification. They're telling us about what some of the clients have been presenting with, some questions that they have. And so, Lainey, why don't you talk about the word oracle?
Oracle. Well, here we go. So I want all of you, by the way, to really engage in this conversation. So it's not just about Joanne and I. We really want your feedback and your conversation, because you all reading your feedbacks as well. But there is a very interesting evolution taking place, right? There's this new age movement. We're in the age of Aquarius. So many of us grew up in organized religion, per se. You're Catholic. I was raised Jewish, more of a culture, right? So I adapted in my life Hinduism. I'm more of a Hindu. And even beyond that, I've studied religions my whole life. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but in 6th grade, back in the day when there was busing and, people didn't want to go to different schools at that time, my mom couldn't find any school to put me in. And she put me in 6th grade in a school, in a Christian school called Christian Way. Wow. I was the only, the whole entire school, and I was the only one Jewish in the school. So I came in my Old Testament, because my mom's like, this is yours, your Bible, and everyone has that Bible. But I was like so open, like Spirit had me open to religion from the get-go, all religions. And so that was probably no accident like anything else. And my study of Eastern philosophy in everything from Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, every ism has just been part of who I am, because I know that everything is one God, and that my supreme power of spirit is God, no matter what it is. And so I embrace all of that, no matter how I was raised or what in my religion was a rabbi, right? And then I was very much into Jews for Jesus in college. Oh, my mom wanted to deprogram me. I've been in everything, because everything to me is oneness. And I embrace this whole experience of spirituality, because I come a 4th generation with intuitive capabilities and gifts that are all, to me, from the divine, no matter how you look at it. So I think where we are talking about today, everyone will have a different experience of what oracle is, because I grew up in tarot, and oracle is just part of my experience, along with everything I learned in Hebrew school. And you, Joanna, will give your experience as a spiritual director in your world. And everyone has their own world. But what we are getting at, I'll get where we're getting at after you maybe give your little spiel on where you came from and where we are now moving forward, and what we could support our readers and people who ask questions or want to know for themselves. How does this all play in the bigger scheme of things? Because after all, our deck is not like other decks that just kind of stay in this genre, right, of metaphysical and spiritual. Our deck is crossed into several streams, including mainstream.
That's right. Because food is one of the things that we all share. We all share food. So, but when we put the word oracle there, it takes on a different meaning. And sometimes there's a little fear about that word, which is why we wanted to bring that up today. But in my background, of course, I was, raised and baptized Catholic, an Italian Irish home. Couldn't get more Catholic than that, right? My mother was very devoted. The rosary was always around, and things. Statues of Mary and Jesus and crosses and everything else. But I always was attracted to the mysticism of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
The transfiguration, the making of the body into bread and water into wine, and there is a fa- mystical theme in the Catholic religion that I was always attracted to.
As
And
in Judaism, right? With the Kabbalah.
with the Kabbalah, right? And so probably, well, there are a lot of religions that have that mystical kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
For me, going into my teenage years and exploring other religions, I also was very interested in Edgar Casey. And I had found books in
Yeah.
my attic that we had moved into this house, and there was a whole trunk of books, and so many of them were Edgar Casey. So here I am at 14, 15 years old, reading about the Akashic records and this sleeping prophet who was giving
Same.
giving prophecy and telling and doing medical intuition and telling people what they needed. And I was fascinated by that. And so, there's always been that spirituality. And then, of course, as I got older, had my children and had them baptized in the Catholic Church, there was that element of where I wasn't that traditional Catholic that just followed all the rules. I questioned and I explored different aspects. And it was when I went to school for spiritual direction, we studied every religion. And we even learned how to be a spiritual director to agnostics and atheists, because even they, needs a listening, somebody to listen to them while they're on their
Sure.
path, even though they didn't maybe believe in God or they questioned God. So it was very, very interesting. Then, of course, when I left the Catholic religion, and I always say I'm recovering Catholic, but the thing that I miss the most is those mystical pieces, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
miss that communion, that ritual of communion. And so I've developed my own rituals in my life and my own ceremonies,
Mm-hmm.
full moon, new moon, just doing ceremony. But there's a lot of people that do not understand that way. Or when I studied shamanism, they don't understand the Native American way of smudging, or some of the,
That's a good
calling.
point. Shamanism, that also has a connotation of, like, to some people, like an occult. Like, what is shamanism?
Right.
When it's all about just bringing in, well, we know what shamanism is, but
Yeah.
positivity
Yeah.
and honor and health,
Right. And calling in the four directions and
Yeah.
talking about the elements, talking
Yeah.
about the chakra system. That's not something that I feel like it's missing from mainstream religion. And it's missing because
Or
there's
Wicca.
fear around it. Absolutely. Wiccan, are you kidding? People are ready to put the garlic around their neck for
Yeah.
protection
Yeah.
against that,
Yeah.
right? When it's really just a nature-based religion. So tonight we wanted to talk about, our deck can sometimes, with that word oracle, bring up some of these biases, some of these judgments, and some of that fear that people have learned in their particular religion. And
In their
so,
upbringing.
and their upbringing, right? So we want to kind of take that fear-based thought forms out of the word oracle and maybe help our readers. And almost everybody that's here tonight is is either getting their certification, been to our classes, and if not, they're doing their own spiritual path. And I'm
Or have the
sure,
deck or are familiar with it.
or have the
One way or
deck,
the other.
right? And maybe coming up against that question, right? They may be coming up against, well, Oracle, isn't that woo woo? Isn't that like witchy? Or, you'll have different responses because our deck has the word Oracle in it. I mean, I guess we could have named it the Food Healing Flashcard Deck, but
No,
that's not
no,
what it is. That's not what we all are.
the food healing deck is a food healing deck. And it's also a food healing oracle deck, because a food healing deck to me is one dimensional. It's very much physical when you say something like that. The minute you introduce the word oracle, it gives it a lift of a vibration that lets you know that it's elevated beyond the unseen, just like when people do prayers, no matter what, or they do meditation, no matter what. They're praying to an unforeseen higher supreme power of whomever, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha,
Right.
whomever. And so what's nice about what we do in these metaphysical worlds, in the worlds of divination, when you start to learn, whether it's a pendulum, whether it's a tea leaf, or whether all the things you learn, there's a million ways to bring in your higher connection to source or supreme power or whatever. But the word oracle kind of defines what this is even more, because it does elevate us into knowing that there is more than what meets the eye, because then this would just be a nutrition deck. But this is a deck full of nutrition for the mind, for the spirit, for the emotions, for the mental, and for the body. That's what makes it so holographically oracle.
Mm-hmm.
And so tarot is one set of circumstances where it's a defined way that have been here for thousands of years. And I think I think I might have said this in one of the descriptions on some of our coming events. You think tarot's been around a long time. How long has food been around? Much longer, right? Very long. Food on this planet has been divinely created from the get-go. So there's a lot of things at play in this deck, and that's what makes it so uniquely us, because there's a lot of things that we're about on so many different levels, because we're not just health coaches, we're not just energy healers, we're a little bit of everything, and that's this deck is a little bit of all of us.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
the thing that is that I find, Lainey, is the fascinating part about this deck. And as we channeled it and it came through, these foods really had a message. They wanted to get it out. It's almost like, having a person that's mute, that cannot speak, and yet they have so much bubbling up. Well, for so long our food wasn't allowed to speak. I mean, I'm sure that there are some people that, like me, as I was growing up, that knew my peas would be upset if I left any of them on the plate, behind. I wouldn't want to leave a pea behind because I would hurt their feelings. But I was weird. Did you know when I was a kid I did that? I knew my food had emotions. And I
Wow.
don't know where that came from, but I guess it was destined for me to be part of the Food Healing Oracle deck, because I felt like if I didn't address my food, I mean, and feel like it had feelings. I don't know how to explain it without sounding really weird, but you know, this vehicle gives food that voice that it's not really had before. And I do think that food has feelings. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. I think that, sometimes somebody said vegetarians don't understand or vegans don't understand how much that carrot is crying. It's like,
Well, I always hate when I like to repurpose everything. So when I see food that's wasted, I do find it emotionally like, wow, look how long it takes for that to grow.
I
And
know.
now it's being thrown away. We got to give it to the rabbits, so I do feel, but we're empathic. So we tend to do that. But I think, people feel like they want to call it food flashcards, call it food flashcards. If you want to call it food healing cards, great. Call them food healing because it does heal on all levels. If you are in the esoteric world and you are trying to tell people, like, I got the coolest new Oracle deck, immediately that tribe's going to understand what this is. So it's just semantics, in my opinion. And I think the main important objective here is to find what works and feels right for you, and also to your potential clients or people who may be reading, is that it's okay. Everyone's in their own, they're all in different states of awakening, right?
Mhm.
So some people are asleep, let's just say, and they are just very happy being where they are, and wherever they are is perfect for them. There are people who are starting to wake up and learn more about sort of the spirituality of things. And then there's people who are, and they're like not fully there yet, and maybe we're way showers. And those are the ones I would say are drowsy, right? They're sort of not fully there yet, and they're still sort of asleep, and they're still tapped into, but wait a minute, I was an altar boy, and I was taught this or that. And then there's the ones who are fully awake, who like, you know what? I used to be this, but now I'm really kind of open to, you know, um, going around and saging and doing ceremonies and around the maypole or whatever it is. And the whole idea is to be an allowance and acceptance of everybody at where they're at. And if they feel in resonance, terrific. Because the ones, like Cheryl said earlier, the ones who are supposed to be tapped in and aligned to this will tap in. And the ones who don't, I mean, there's a million tarot decks, there's a million oracle decks. Ours is so uniquely ours that it's for everybody, because everybody eats. I don't care what religion you are. Everybody eats food. Why not learn more about how to feed that temple? And if you don't want to call your body a temple, how to feed your body for optimum health, right?
Right. Well, what I said to somebody the other day, I was having a conversation, and I said, "Yeah, I might do some things. I do my business is out of the box. It's out of the mainstream. I'm not a bank teller, right? I'm not, a grocery clerk. I do healings and cord cuttings, and I do." Craniosacral therapy. What's that? And I do sound healing, but people know me not by what I do, but who I am, right?
Yeah.
So when I stand in my authentic being, fully empowered and grounded, right? Then people are attracted to us by our fruits, how we present ourselves. So if somebody that's listening here that is a reader or having some hard times, seeing where they fit in, I say just be fully you. Be your
Yes.
authentic self.
Yes.
Stand in your own power. Be grounded. Know how to speak to people, how to uplift them with positivity, and how to make them know that they can trust you. That's the biggest thing of all, especially
Just model it.
when we can garner trust with our clients or our potential clients or people that we meet. Then it doesn't matter what if we say, yeah, I'm going to go do this cord cutting or full moon ceremony. They're like, oh yeah, well that's just Joanna because that's what she does. But it's not like, oh, she's weird. No, I mean,
Well, Joanna, just taking point back in the day where acupuncture was never even considered
oh my God.
insurable on insurance. And then acupuncture made its way in. And then
Mm-hmm.
suddenly meditation made its way in. And suddenly yoga made its way into mainstream.
Absolutely.
All these things take time. And
Mm-hmm.
so we are, as I said in the beginning of this, going through an evolution of just our own expression. I think the planet itself is going through an evolution. And all of this is really, and I think COVID in this time period of pause and reboot and reset is for you to get clear on who you are. Just like Joanna said, is just be you and model you. And if you are so happy about something and you're radiating that, then other people are going to want to know what it is that you got going on. Like, I want
That's
some of
right.
that. And just be in that knowing that you've been gifted with something, that we've been gifted with something that has been waiting to come out. And the time came out now during COVID for this to really open up people in ways they've never been. And it's such a safe way to do it, because food is that wonderful vehicle that no matter where you are in the world, you see a plate of plums or blueberries that you know exactly, you know, that it's a wonderful food and you know what it tastes like. And there's a
Mhm.
common denominator amongst everybody, every culture, every religion,
Right.
every language. Yeah.
Yeah, and like our tagline always says, you'll never look at food the same way again. There's there is an awakening and an opening for people to have a new understanding about what they're putting in their body. And I think that is one of our, we had a list of things that we wanted to present to the world. But because Lainey and I share the passion of healing and we share the passion of, of food and spiritual things, one of the things that we both agreed to when we first sat down and talked about creating this deck was we wanted to bring the message to the world about healthy, organic plants, foods, vegetables. We wanted to bring it to the forefront because there's so many people who don't pay attention to what's on their plate, who don't uh, even notice what they're putting in their bodies and what the connection is for them. So that was one of the, if we had a mission statement, well, we do have kind of a mission statement, but our mission was to bring this to the world in a way that was edifying for them, that was healthy for them, that could incorporate that EMPS wellness we're always talking about, because that's what food is.
Somebody told me once, and I think I've adopted it, is we want to approach, we want to wake up the people who shop the middle aisles of a grocery store, right? Because,
There
right,
you
the
go.
peripheral is all the produce, all the
There
live
you
food,
go.
the
Uh-huh.
living foods are in the periphery, but it's those main aisles, the ones who are buying those things, those are the ones we want to wake up to the living foods within this deck, in the
Mhm.
vibrancy, right? And I'm sure the people who are here tonight want to do that for themselves, their families, and for the people they're going to read for. And that's what the certification program brings you in, is to the deeper appreciation of everything we got going on. And that's what makes that so exciting, is you can really dive into what we're saying. But yeah, we want those middle people to be able to start appreciating those outer aisles.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. This
And
is what the peas were trying to tell me. The
yeah,
peas and carrots on my plate, they were trying to tell me we have feelings, we have something to say. And so, Oracle, whether it's Tarot, whether it's the word healing, whether it's the word shamanism, these are
crystals.
descriptions, crystals, all of this stuff that some people might say, well, that's too weird for me. Just, embrace who you are. And like Lainey said, people will eventually want what you have, regardless of what, you'll open up doors for them. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to plant seeds, open doors, open eyes, open hearts, and to help people um, wake up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Wake up from the sleep. This is the time. You're here on the planet for a reason. You are experiencing things that have never happened or haven't happened in most of our lifetimes. And we are here. There's purpose to everything that we're doing. And this deck is part of that. There's no question. I mean, we've been having some amazing blessings that being on Indigo's Oracle app. I mean, go look at all the other apps. Ours is quite different than
Ours is
all the other
very
apps,
different.
gods and goddesses and titans and emperors and angels and lots of things. And then we have food. I mean, we've been really blessed. Like, this is being carried out in a very important way. Some strategic, but the strategic is because the message has been saying, go here, go there, talk to that person. But it's the doors are opening, and we know the doors are opening because we want everyone to look at food differently, and especially the ones who are, like we said before, the middle aisles. And getting back
Mhm.
to just that little religious piece, Joanna, when I think about people like Doreen Virtue. Okay, Doreen Virtue, one of the most sought after, the number one, the most iconic in the world of divination cards, tarot cards, oracle cards. I mean, some of my first decks were Doreen Virtue. So Virtue essentially kind of like all her decks were Hay House. And then Doreen Virtue decided to, really felt called to be more of a born again Christian, and now doesn't do this. And then there are people who are born again Christians who open up through their experience that God is in everything and start getting into decks and, all the different worlds of divination. So what are you going to do? Follow them wherever they change their mind? No, you're going to see what works for you. What feels right is your yes. And that's kind of the lesson with everything. It's like, you don't have to follow any crowd. You follow you. And if this is your world, great. And if this isn't your world, that's great too, because there's something for everyone, and everyone will find their way. That we know. But I think about, it's like, I love Doreen Virtue, and I love Doreen Virtue however she chooses to believe in, the higher realms. It's all perfect. It's all great. And there's a million other stories like that out there.
Absolutely, absolutely, Lainey. And we're living in, as someone just put it, interesting times,
Yeah.
where there's so much duality and so much judgment and so much, everybody's ready to call somebody on their stuff. And, it's a very divisive time. What better time to bring in the positive peaches, of love, hope, healing? It's like we need the voices. We need all of the people who have our depth to have that. Our book is very positive, even though we have some of those other cards that come in because that's part of life. It's a very positive depth. And the people who read it and share it, I know that you have gotten just as much feedback as I have
Yeah.
about how many people love this deck. They love reading it. They've never associated. I don't know why tonight the tomato card keeps coming up in my mind. I keep thinking of camera, lights, action. It's
Yeah.
it's time to take action, to be who you are, to put your beliefs at the forefront and just stand in your own power. And I think that that is what we're awakening to. We don't have to be like anybody else. We can be ourselves.
Well, well said. And if anyone has any questions, please let us know before we move on, because here's what's going to happen now. Prior to this call or the show, I tuned into the group as a collective, and I wanted to kind of see where things were at and feel into what was happening in the field. And so, in lieu of individual readings tonight, I'm going to now give all of us, Joanna, Lainey, Cheryl, Linda, Robin, Tony, everybody who's here, all of you, all your names. And we want you to take this in, because this reading has been done for you. And I want you to just, if it's in resonance, and you can put your comments accordingly. But I pulled 4 cards. I'm sorry, I pulled 5 cards actually.
5 cards.
And this, yeah, I pulled 5 cards. And this spread that I'm going to now share with you is not so much a spread, but it's a conversation I really just had with Spirit, because I sometimes just say, okay, Spirit, here's what's going on. Here's what I'm feeling. What do you have to say? And it's almost like Spirit's in the room. Spirit's always in the room. And we're just having a conversation. So I'll flip a card. I'm like, okay, so this is what's going on. Yes. And then I would get some guidance. And then the next card. So this is a conversation for you that I've had with Spirit on your behalf. How's that? Sound good?
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay. Here we go. Are you all ready? So this is for the collective. So I asked Spirit, tell me about the energy of this evening's, where people are thinking, maybe even for some of the certified readers who may be now going out to the, not beyond their friends that they're reading for or family, but now they may be going out and starting to set up shop and start charging for readings. Like, what is happening? So you know what I got? Confusion. We got the confusion. We got cilantro around that. So the energy of this show and the topic that we have is because there's some confusion about what Oracle is, what is going on, what is it, how does it relate to God, Jesus, the Bible, Oracle, tarot. I mean, what is it, right? And we get the cilantro card. Okay. So I said, okay, that's really interesting, Spirit. So tell me more. What is it that we really need? What can Joanne and I provide in this hour with this beautiful group of collective people who came to understand more about the deck, more about themselves, more about their choices, more about their priorities? What is needed right now? Blueberries. You can't make it up. Spirit said, yeah, they need more clarity. They need to have more clarity for themselves. You need to have more clarity to move yourself out of confusion of maybe what you once believed or once you thought was true is true forever, because maybe there's an evolution going on with you, that there's much more. There's more clarity to be received and understood for yourself of what you truly believe right now, of who you are and what you're maybe moving into in your life. And Joanna, if I'm saying anything, you want to jump in. I'm just on a
Oh,
roll.
you know I
I'm just,
will.
yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going from confusion to clarity. So I said, that's wonderful. So tell me more. Okay, this isn't one of the spreads in the book. This is me having a conversation with Spirit for you. Okay, so the question is, well, what do we need to know for all these wonderful people to get clarity? Patience. Okay, we need to be patient, and all the answers might not be here in one moment. You are evolving, you are learning, you are growing. The book's probably even stretching you and wondering, giving you ideas, food for thought. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with people. Like, God, how could they not see this as this? It's so magical, and they're thinking this. Plums, okay? Plums, because everyone's walking their path perfectly for them, including you. And that this is letting you know that you're moving from confusion to clarity, and you need to have patience. So I said, okay, great. So now if we have so we're going to say something?
I was just going to say, and patience for the people that we're in relationship with, that
Right.
may need also to figure out what their part is to play in your story.
Yeah. So I said, if there was a final outcome, or how would we want to, go from here once we're patient? And the car is actually durian. It's a mystery.
Mm.
And this told me, or the message that I received from this, is that we don't need to know everything, that we can just let it unfold. And we can just, when we talked earlier about modeling the energy, we can just be God or spirit, or we could just be an oracle, or we could just be us. And that should be good enough. And let the mystery unfold for that other person and for ourselves, because the information will come in, whether it's from you, whether it's from this deck, or whether it's something they read or a sign or whatever it is. Let the mystery of spirit bring it all together. Okay. So I said, wow, that is an amazing reading, Spirit. What is the overall, if they kind of walk through this whole journey that we're taking them on tonight, and the deck is taking them, and we believe soon millions will run across the world in one day, and the overall answer, peace.
Wow. Wow.
Right? Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace in the world. Let us know that the mystery has already been attended to by a higher power. And we're just part of that higher power. We're one piece, because we're all caught in it together. We're all part of this. So I laid this all out for you. Okay. Can we see this, Joanna?
Yes.
Are we
Yes.
are
You
we
can
able to
just
see
make it
that?
bigger. There
Is
you
that good?
go.
Okay, so look at this again, beloved ones. We're moving
Mm.
out of a state of confusion. You don't have to be confused on what to say. Just be. The confusion will move into clarity, right? Allow the clarity of who you are and what your belief systems are to prevail over everything, and be patient with those who aren't seeing you, okay? This is your soul. or soul individual journey, and allow the mystery unfold so we can all have that peace in knowing that you are walking your path perfectly for you. Okay? That's what this reading is all about. You can't make this up. This is literally like, no, we're not doing individual readings tonight. The soul journey is a group journey, and this is what we're going to be sharing, and this is what they need to know.
Lainey, that was absolutely beautiful. And it speaks so much to what our topic was tonight, starting with, the perfect cilantro card, because there is a lot of confusion around this in this time, and ending with the peace card, from confusion to peace. And that is the journey. That is the journey. And we're all on this kind of heroes or heroines journey, to peace. I mean, that is the ultimate thing that we could all ask for, is to have peace within ourselves, and to share that peace with others. I think that was just an amazing, amazing reading. I love the
Thank
way
you.
Spirit speaks through you.
Oh, thank you. And I love the way Spirit speaks through you. I'm just going to put it on screen one more time because I want you to take it in, and then we're going to just move on to one more aspect of this evening. Okay? Really take this in. These cards, these flashcards, these oracle cards, whatever you want to call them, these food healing deck cards, these food healing oracle deck, it is all of that and then some, because what this is telling you cannot be explained in any further way, especially if you go and look at these foods and you take in their beautiful essence. And but to leave with like Spirit saying, hand olive branch of peace in your mind to someone, in your heart. Like if they decline, Robin, they decline because it's not their time. And the ones who don't, there'll be 100 more that will understand and want this. This is something people are gravitating to. And that's why we have filled and sold out every single certification class. There is a yearning and a need for this knowledge. And we're so, like, we have a yearning and need to already get writing and getting our second deck. It's like such a strong urge because we already know it's coming in. There's so much to say with 60 more fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices. And imagine we just keep creating this bigger dialogue. There's so much to say. So we're excited that you're all on that journey. And with that, here's what we would like to offer you tonight. So you all, or some of you came last week, and it seemed like we couldn't believe it was only a week ago, but we were talking all about our upcoming meditations, and we were talking about the 9 that we were going to be offering. Well, guess what? 1 is already done. Imagine that. Actually,
and it is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. I'm so excited.
It's so fast. Well, tomorrow you all are going to see on the website, we have our first release, and our release is release. And I am so excited to tell you that I want you all, whoever is on tonight, I want you to write to us at foodhealingoracle@gmail.com. I'm going to put that in right here. Food Healing Oracle Deck, right? Get the word oracle in there, people. foodhealingoracle@gmail.com. And I want you to write to me and say, release. And we're going to send you an advanced copy of this for free of this meditation as our gift for being here tonight. We're not spinning a wheel. You're all getting it. And the whole point, it just was so natural, is that we want you to release any precognitions of your programming, your background, your religious institution, what someone said to you, any judgments, any resentments, any self-doubt, anything that would get in the way of you finding your peace with what you do, when you do it, and how you do it. And I want you to release all that by listening to this meditation and letting me know how you like it. So free for everyone tonight.
Oh, how they like it? No. They are going to absolutely love it.
All right, Joanna's heard it.
I've heard it. I got the sneak peek. Oh my goodness. And tomorrow I'll be recording Transformation.
Tomorrow, she's going in with the asparagus. And Joanne says, "Oh my God, I just pulled a watermelon card for myself
There
today."
you
Oh,
go.
good. Well, I can't wait for you to hear this, Joanne, and everybody. And Joanna, tomorrow, I can't wait to be there to witness the transformation of our next meditation, which will come out. But tomorrow online, people can buy it. If you like it, tell people all about it. It'll be online on our website. But tonight, Food Healing Oracle deck, Write to Me release. I'm sending you a copy of it. I hope you enjoy it. Would love your feedback. Let us know. Maybe post something on the on our food healing page or whatever, or on our website. We have a testimonial page. Have you been to our testimonial page? There's a lot on there now. A lot of people saying
you
some
know
nice
what?
things.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I have not visited that for a minute or two.
Yeah, go visit. And anyone who wants to put some, you can put a video, you can put a picture, you can put just written words, and we get them up there, and we're so grateful. But I hope tonight provided some more info on who we are and where we come from. We're all about the God. We're all about God. And this is the most positive deck. We're so proud of it. And we're so proud that you're all part of this family and growing and growing. And now we have children coming into this world who want to know more about foods, and people are signing up from across the country. It is happening. These kids are going to learn why they are choosing these foods, or how to empower themselves to make their own meals in the kitchen, or why your parents want you to eat broccoli, and make it fun, and where foods are from, and the geography. Like, we're going to town with this. We're going to town with this. Because right? Don't you wish you had classes like this when you were this age, their age?
I wish I had classes like this when I was raising my kids, because I was a hippie that grew her own vegetables, and were, a vegetarian. Well, I was a vegan, but back then we didn't say vegan, we just said vegetarian. And my kids were eating sprouts by the handful and going out to the garden and picking things. And people thought that, wow, my parents thought that I was raising them wrong or something, because I wasn't allowing them to have junk food, which is weird. But if we had classes like this, then it would have been more mainstream. So,
well, my mom, I've said it all the time. Growing up, my mom was like so about reading ingredients. More than 3, leave it be. And I, like my whole life, I used to, when I was a kid, I used to be like, more than 3, leave it be. Now I'm like to my kids, more than 3, leave it be. I'm like, oh my God, I'm repeating my mom. But you know what? I'm so grateful for her, because she was all about nutrition growing up, and she, she's an intuitive, and here I am doing, history repeats itself. So listen, we have a few minutes left. I would love to get people's thoughts or feedback on what we talked about today. We keep these shows light, but sometimes conversations come up where it's meant to kind of bring up some of these deeper layers so they can be released. And you guys keep moving and grooving, and doing the beautiful work that you're all doing with all your respective crafts and tool sets and wisdom and knowledge and communities, because that's what it's all about, right?
That is what it's all about. And I wanted to say, for us to not be fearful to bring up these sensitive kind of subjects that might be sensitive, have a dialogue with your family, sit down and talk about, with your friends about, how the metaphysical world speaks to them or doesn't speak to them, or what their beliefs are, their biases are from maybe their upbringing with religion, and what they're still holding on to and being maybe stuck by. Some people get stuck in that dogma that they learned, and they never mature and progress to a different way, and they don't get a chance to evolve. I always think that it's good for us to stretch ourselves, think outside the box. And even if we come away and we stay with our belief system, at least we've been given the opportunity to look at things with a new perspective. So don't be afraid to bring these subjects up with your family over dinner or, when you're walking and taking a walk with a friend. I think it's
Well,
really
let's talk
fascinating.
about new perspective, right? And by the way, where is Tamara here? She's here. I think she's here. Look at Tamara's little amazing box, by the way. People were asking her, can it hold the food healing oracle deck? First off, look at this piece of amazing handmade art. So it doesn't fit in sideways, but here's what I do. This sits on my desk every day. And the minute I come into my office, I go, okay, Spirit, what's the card of the day? Oh, okay, cool. It's meditation. And this is the card. And I focus on my card of the day, and this sits on my desk. So A, thank you, Tamara. But B, talk about having things with new perspective. When you allow new perspectives come in, you have no idea the trajectory it's going to take you on. Because this happy accident happened, and we have these little cards now for little hands. Now we developed a kids program. Now we're awakening the future, all because the printer said, I have some bad news for you. My assistant didn't get it right, and your cards came out a little small. And I was like, think out of the box here. There's a blessing in this. And the
Mhm.
rest is history. We all love these cards. We love the big ones, the small ones, and now the kids are having them. So I'm with you, Joanna. Always make
Mhm.
sure you allow the mystery to present its blessing to you.
Absolutely.
So
So,
it is.
Melissa, I just want to read what Melissa wrote. She says,
Okay, here. Thank you. Go ahead.
I totally resonated with what Joanna said. I grew up Catholic and always questioned things, always have been fascinated with all other religions. I have become aware of what matters to me and what I believe for myself, and I allow my kids to choose as well. That's so important. I believe it's all about faith, having faith in whatever is making a commitment to something. I love that, Melissa, because, especially raising our children, we don't want to put them in that box and say, this is how you have to believe. You know how many families are broken apart because their kids have decided to go a different way in their spiritual growth. It's very sad to me that that is going on. I think that as families, we have to allow our children, my children are grown up, they all think for themselves, they think differently. And I want them to feel free to have their own opinions and to have make their own decisions in the way they want to live their life, in the way they want to communicate with God. They certainly know where I am on it, but I don't force myself and my belief system on them. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
there's a level of respect. We can respect each other.
so true. Thank you for writing that, Melissa. I grew up with an Orthodox family, Orthodox Jews, and so I came from like people who were extreme, but not conservative. Orthodox were my grandparents. So the idea of marrying out of your faith was like unheard of. And so I married an Irish Catholic, right? So my ex-husband, George, an amazing father to our children. um, yeah, Irish Catholic. He was an altar boy, went to Catholic school his whole life. Didn't so much really groove with it as an adult. He was more of an atheist. And then here was Bohemian Laney coming in with all the woo woo. Probably thought I was doing witchcraft at some point, but no. But he allowed me to just be me, and we had beautiful 15 years together. And we have two gorgeous, stunning children who have grow up with Christmas. They grow up with um, they grow up with Hanuman and Kuan Yin, and they grow up with a menorah, and they embrace it all because they're my kids, they're his kids, and they're everybody's kids, and they get all the influences, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That is so beautiful. And
Yeah,
that's how it should be. That's how I believe it should be anyway.
yeah. So thank you for everybody being here. I'm so glad Joan Darren Keycox is here, because here she's also a minister and a spiritual director. I'd love to get her take later, and
Mhm.
everyone's take, because this was a great topic. And people were like, wow, that's an intense topic. Oh, no, it's not intense. It's just being authentic. The idea is that we're here to be authentic now. And if you're not authentic now, when are you going to be? And we are authentic because we went
Absolutely.
out and made a deck about food and how it is making changes in people's lives. You all know it is, and yours and others, that we just followed our hearts and our truth. And here we are. So much more to come. And we hope you take our archangel. Well, we know you are because people are signing up, but take our archangels and ascended masters. If you like anything that we talked about today, sign up for our archangels and ascended masters class, because you all believe in angels, and if you don't, you might want to, because they're all around us, and we're going to talk about how they're telling us what is in our food on September 12th. Yeah? All right.
love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. We love Monday nights. We love seeing all of you, and we couldn't be happier with with your presence and with the work that we're doing in the world.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Thanks, everyone. Next Monday, if you can make it, yes, it's Labor Day. For those of you can, you're in for something special, because Oksana is a wealth of information, and you want to know who's going to be a major player in nourishing us next year in Islama Harris. But her wisdom, and on top of that, with food and emotions and transgenerational understanding of food in our DNA. And oh my God, so much is happening next
I
Monday.
cannot wait to meet her. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Blessings.
Mwah.